Dr. Prasad, because of that, I wonder then if we can't just get your comments on your flagship product. I mean, that sounds like as good a place as any to start because there
Mm-hmm.
is taking MMF,
Yes.
which is now Microdaily, and I'm showing a picture here now of the the top of the line version of your product because this thing has evolved now to an animal, a beast that most of us have a hard time truly containing because it's an unbelievable product now. So please tell us how and why can someone benefit from this with serious brain issues?
Yeah. First, you have to know what is happening in the brain normally when you are aging or when you get injury or any kind of like he was in a war zone and exposed to many toxin and all this kind of stuff. So first, you have to know what is happening in the brain normally, and then all these stressor from outside can aggravate that. And what is happening in the brain is that the brain uses 20% of respired oxygen is used by brain and for energy because brain needs a lot of energy to produce it. And one and only one way, major way to produce energy is using oxygen. And oxygen is used by mitochondria, which is a tiny membranous structure. And mitochondria picks up so much oxygen that 2% of unused oxygen leaks out and generates a lot of excessive amount of free radicals, billions of free radicals. But
Oh,
even
wow.
normal procedure of generating energy from oxygen, and they generate as a byproduct free radicals. So you can see that our brain is daily exposed to high level of free radicals. And as you know, when free radicals are produced, and if you don't attenuate them, then they will induce chronic inflammation. So first, let us talk about free radicals. Then you'd have thought that brain should have a higher level of antioxidant to protect it. But no, this is opposite is true. Brain has the lowest level of antioxidant to protect against free radical. Then you can say, well, nature was not kind enough that they asked to produce much more, but they did not provide enough nutrient. But what nature provided is the plasticity of brain function. So your neuron has to get lost 50, 60% before the clinical symptoms appears of a disease, say, for example. And so that and also that after the age of, say, 25, I think the normal rate of neuron occurs because of these events. This is normally you start losing, I think it was I don't know, I forgot 5% every 10 years. But anyway, by the time you reach 60, 65, 60, 70% of neuron are not there, but still you are functional. So the question is how you can prevent the rate of the loss of neurons while you are growing up, while you are younger.
Can you just pause 1 second there before you go into this preventing the loss of neurons, just to make sure that our audience gets this. And I hope everybody understood this. Dr. Prasad said the brain is using massive amounts of oxygen, and to produce mitochondrial function gives off free radicals. So oxygen is exposed in the brain to oxidative stress. Free radicals is exposed in the brain to oxidative stress. And the lowest amount of antioxidants or protection for the brain is in the brain.
Right.
And then as we age, we're losing it at a rapid rate at the same time.
Yes.
Neurons.
Yeah, neuron is just gradually is leading. And so by the time you reach 60, 65% of neuron, and if you have not taken care of your brain, then you have disease like Parkinson, Alzheimer, all kind of dementia.
Okay, and that's the important thing is for folks to understand that oxidative stress and free radicals translates into the progression of disease.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If you don't do anything. So the question is how we can reduce the rate of the loss.
Right.
First, normally, and disease state is entirely different issue. First, the normal while we are growing up from, say, childhood to things of what we can do. And it is not only that immune function is important while you are growing, but also you want to prevent the loss of neuron.
Mhm.
So then you say that how we can do it? Our diet does not provide adequate amount because kind of diet we eat, as you know, and so I think there was one statistic that there was a lot of people have micronutrient deficiency,
Mhm.
and when you have micronutrient deficiency, it further aggravate the oxidative stress in the brain as well as in some other organ as well, but especially in the brain.
Especially.
But brain is already producing or is already in a high oxidative stress. So the question is that what are the way you can improve the antioxidant status of the brain? One and only way is that you have an appropriate type of micronutrient, like you have a microdaily EMF, and therefore this one, if you start earlier, forget about it for the time being disease process, you can reduce the rate of the normal rate of loss of neuron. So when you are 65 or older, then you don't have a neuronal loss, and therefore you don't have a neurological memory issue, another kind of a problem.
Mhm.
And so this is very important to remember. Not to explaining that fellows who has suffered from concussive injury and varieties of other injury in a ward. And so you can see that his brain was really bad. And as you know, we ran a study on veterans who were exposed to concussive injury or traumatic brain injury, also is called, in San Diego Medical Center. And Dr. Captain Hoffer was the Navy captain there at that time, Dr. Hoffer. And the symptoms, classical symptoms, this was not as acute as his case, but it was also showing the sign of a memory, dizziness and balancing problem.
Mhm.
And this is the classical symptoms. At least these two, they were measuring it because they were young fellows. And so this was a 12-week study. One group got a standard therapy that they have been getting all these years. Another group got a standard therapy plus MMF at that time, old MMF,
Mhm.
and 12-week study. And then the code was broken. But even after 1 week, nurses were saying, I don't know why some people are doing better than the other one, because they were measuring quantitatively by various machines the
Yeah.
symptoms of dizziness, balancing problems. And so there were 18 different, I can't even pronounce the name of the machine, but there were 8 or 10 different quantitative measurements. And so, but when after 3 months, when the code was broken, they found that the combination group who get both a standard therapy and MMF did much, much better on all these criteria. And Dr. Harper presented this work in Europe someplace in an international society of audiologists.
Wow.
So it was so this is what you kind of you expected it after that result. And you can see that even under extreme conditions, like this gentleman was, you can see that even microdaily alone.
Yeah.
Don't forget, now we know
Yeah.
the same person that we tested on, they must have also intestinal dysbiosis.
Yeah.
Means intestinal bacteria, number of toxic bacteria is increasing anytime you have any kind of disease symptoms, and especially even in case of brain, like Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease. These are all associated with the changes in the intestinal bacteria in favor of the toxic bacteria. And